First up, a huge thank you to Panenka Bar and Grill for supporting the channel. You can find us there before every home game and post-game, either celebrating or drowning our sorrows. It's a great premium bar and it's situated less than half a mile from beautiful downtown Bramall Lane.
Also, a huge thank you to Parrot Peel. They are a virtual band who create innovative musical experiences just for you. But you already knew that, didn't you? We've been talking about them for long enough. But please do go to parrotpeel.com and check them out because they are awesome.
Ale, ale, ale. Ale, ale, ale. Ale, ale, ale.
Yes, hello everybody and welcome to the Sheffield United Way. I am Ollie, for anybody who doesn't know, and today we are talking about what has been another busy day in terms of the media and some of the reporting that is going on around Sheffield United Football Club. While we've all been at work, I'm sure we've been refreshing and seeing Twitter or Blue Sky or any of those other platforms that you may be using to find out your information. But it's been very, very noisy from all of those externals. But there is one area that has been really quiet, almost silent. There have been hardly any official comms actually coming out of the club. So let's start with that. What have the club actually had to say today? Feliz aniversario, Vinicius Souza. That's right. On a day when all of the external messages are swirling around and they're all talking about the future of Chris Wilder, they're talking about, are United going to make a change? Is there a new manager? What is happening in terms of the way United are going forward? The only thing that Sheffield United themselves have actually communicated about is happy birthday to Vinny Souza. All jokes aside, yeah, fair enough. Happy birthday, big man. Maybe after today, we will all just need to go and join him in the boozer rather than begging for him to come and join us. But of course, that is not what we're talking about. That is not the main event of the video here today. Today, we're talking about Chris Wilder and his future at Bramall Lane. Now, there'll be some people watching this and they'll be fed up with the noise already. They'll be thinking, just wait. Let's wait for the club. Let's let them announce it. Let's stop all the speculation and the rumours. I'm not going to believe it until the club make their announcement. And yeah, look, ultimately you're right. You know, all of this could look a little bit silly if all of the reports are wrong. But there are so many out there. There is every fibre of the media starting to report that Chris Wilder is going to be sacked as Sheffield United manager. They're even starting to name his successor. They're starting to tell us that it's likely going to be Ruben Sellers that is the new manager of Sheffield United Football Club. And to be honest, it would be madness if we weren't here talking about this, giving our thoughts on what we think about it, what's going on, and how are United actually going to move forward. So let's start from there. Let's recap. What's actually happening? Well, last week, I think it was Thursday, we started hearing that there was a meeting scheduled where the new owners were all going to get together. The board were getting together to discuss manager Chris Wilder's future at Sheffield United. The reports today are all telling us that that meeting happened and they've decided to move on. They've decided that they want to sack Chris Wilder and they want to move forward as Sheffield United Football Club with a different manager. By all accounts, we are expecting this to be announced imminently. It may be announced while I'm live. Occasionally, you will see me do this. And that's me refreshing Twitter just in case the news come through while we are talking about it on this live stream, because we are expecting all of those formal comms in due course. It could be at any time. It may be later this week. It may be today. We just don't know. Now, if you're on Twitter and if you're following everybody else, every man and his dog has given their opinion regarding this news. All of the local journalists, all of the national journalists are talking about how this is going to go forward and what it means for Sheffield United. And so here is full prosperity. Here's where I stand. That's what I'm going to do today. I'm going to tell you where I stand on some of the reasons why they may be making these decisions and how they may be taking this forward. And let's start with the one that we're all here for. The one that we all follow football for on a personal, emotional level. And to be honest, I'm gutted. I'm just gutted because we all are as Sheffield United fans. I can see it already coming through in the comments. If we just look at some of these, you know, you've got it here, you know, Adam Ragg just wants to see a nice face. And I'm not sure mine is that one, but I'll take it because that's what we like. Dom, he can't bear it Daniel is telling us straight away he thinks this is ridiculous. And that's how we all feel emotionally, because I love Chris Wilder. I've said it, it's out there. I love the man. And that's coming from somebody who has sat here in this chair, in this very seat. I've sat here and I've criticised him, but I've also sat here and I've praised him. I've been desperate for him to come back and be the Sheffield United manager, and I've complained bitterly that we've given him a job when nobody else would have done. He should never have come back to the Lane. I've gone through all those emotions during his time as United manager, during the saga that has been the last 6 or 7 years and his connection to the club. But through all of that, and despite anything else that people can say, there is one thing that Wilder has guaranteed for me as a Sheffield United fan. He's guaranteed that I am going to feel connected to every moment of what happens on the football pitch. And that is why we're all here. It's what we're all watching football for. He's meant that I will always feel represented by our manager, that there will be a Sheffield United team that I'm able to be proud of on a Saturday because they will play with pride. They will play for something because he enforces that and he makes sure that they have to. They have to buy into everything that Sheffield United did. And look, we lost that when he wasn't here. When it was under Slav and we tried to do something different and it didn't work, we lost that feeling to be proud of. Last season in the Premier League, when we got embarrassed week in, week out, we lost something to be proud of. And to be honest, it wasn't just that we lost a team to be proud of. I don't think we had a single player that we could sit here and be proud of this time last year. That's what's changed. That's what Chris Wilder has brought to us. Over the last 12 months, he has rebuilt the squad, the culture, the connection. He has given us, look, whether the football is good, bad, indifferent, whether it's deserved victories, whether we're just getting over the line, they were a team that we could as fans be proud of because they cared about what it meant to represent United. They stood up and said, yeah, I am a Sheffield United player and I absolutely love it. And we loved them for that and we loved the club for that. And so regardless of anything else, and we will go into lots of other things over the next 20 minutes or however long I end up chatting, I'm forever going to be grateful to Wilder for just being the best Sheffield United manager of my lifetime. That is what I'm grateful to him for, because he's given me a club to be proud of twice. Not once. He didn't just come in and be the Messiah and lead us to glory once. He's now done it twice, because whether last season ended in glorious failure or whether it ended with the success and the celebration of 92 points, however you want to look back on it, it was a team to be proud of and that I really liked. More than anything else, it's a team that I really liked. And that's my emotional response. That's my, I love football, I love United. That's the response. But the owners haven't taken an emotional response. They've not gone into it the way I have. They're not sat there going, yeah, I'm just a little boy who's proud to support United. They're coming at this from a business decision, and they're going to look at lots of different perspectives. One of them will be a football perspective. So let's go there next, and let's think about, from a football perspective, what does this mean? Well, last season, United were effective. We were as effective as any United team has ever been. Let's be honest here. We earned 92 points last season. We won 28 games of football, and we were closer than I can ever remember us being to breaking our 100-year duck at Wembley. On the pitch, the results were a huge success. The season, yes, it ended in sadness, and we fell short right at the last hurdle when it mattered the most. But from a results on pitch perspective, you can't ask much more than what we got from Sheffield United last season. And it is an unbelievably harsh, frankly, ridiculous decision to sack somebody based on the results that United got last season. Because in any other season over the last 25 years, we would currently be sat here celebrating promotion. If any other season, because if it had been a season without VAR, we'd have won at Wembley. If it had been a season without Leeds and Burnley, we would have just been automatically promoted. That's how high the standard United gave this season was. We can't fault that. You can't sack somebody based on that. However, let's be honest with ourselves a little bit, which is that were the performances and what we watched week in, week out as good as the results? And I think, generally speaking, we would say no. And does it matter? Results pay the bills. But ultimately, United were an effective team. We were brilliant at winning 1-0 or 2-1. We were low-margin games that we edged because we had brilliance. We had brilliance running through the squad with Harmer, with Campbell, first half of the season with Suter, with Cooper. Those players were capable of winning us games of football. And so we let games be low-margin, knowing that we would edge them on the quality of the players that we'd got. Does that mean that there was somewhere we could improve? Could we create a Sheffield United tactical identity that would give us something to believe in and to say, yes, that's how we're going to play and it's going to be repeatable? Something like what Leeds did, where they were the best team to watch in the Championship last season. If you were a neutral and you were watching a game of football, you wanted it to be Leeds because they were fun and exciting. They were fast down the wings. They were creating chances from everywhere. They had goal scorers everywhere, and they had a little bit of chaos in defence. It was fun. And so there was lots happening there. And maybe when we look at this from a football perspective and we reflect on what happened last season and what maybe was the difference between being third and being first, maybe looking forwards and thinking about the future, there is a manager who can give us an identity, a style, a tactical approach, which brings more out of those performances, which makes us better to watch, which makes us a more entertaining team. And so possibly you can see why on performances you may look to change, but on results, it's daft. That's the football side. So the emotional side, I'm gutted. The football side, it's mixed, because while I don't agree and we should be judging on results, I can understand why, based on performances and a few other metrics, you may start to think that, okay, maybe a change is better looking forward. We don't want to look back. The past has gone. Let's look forward. Is there a better way? Possibly. But what else? They're not the only factors. There'll be other bits that we're looking at. Things like reputation. As a new owner who has pumped in £100+ million to buy a football club, to buy a new investment, they're going to be looking at the long-term reputation of the club and how you can improve that. They'll be thinking, you know, are we improving the reputation for more investment? Are we improving it to sell shirts in America? Are we improving it to sell the club to players and get them to want to come and be here? It will mean a lot to them. They'll be thinking about so much more than just what we see on a Saturday and how we're taking that forward. And this is one area where I think there is a clear split. There's the Sheffield United bubble and there's the world bubble. And they're the two questions that the owners will be playing in, because they don't live in the United bubble. They live in this world bubble. And let's start there, because let's start with the Sheffield bubble. I loved it. I had a great time. I loved seeing somebody who was feeling the same way I was feeling when we beat Wednesday, who just wanted to go and celebrate. And I had so much fun celebrating it and watching the videos and laughing and joining in and mocking my friends and feeling connected to one of our own, because they were special moments, special memories that everybody connected with United will feel and love and want to be part of. But the other side of that is I've got friends who aren't United fans. I've got friends who are Leicester fans and Ipswich fans and Plymouth fans. And they were messaging me saying, you're not embarrassed of this? Or you're not thinking that you should be better than this? You should be above this? Is this really what you want? And maybe those external factors, those people far and away in other countries or in other cities or connected and disconnected from United, I think that that is maybe one of the factors that plays into this. That's off-field. We then have an on-field reputation, which, again, let's think back to last season. How many times were United charged for failing to control the players? It cost us something like £500,000. £500,000 was spent in fines because we couldn't stop scrapping on the pitch and we couldn't stop fighting back and fighting with everybody who was even slightly interested in having one. We then look wider in that and we think about what happened at Plymouth and the debacle of potentially scrapping in their away end and Wilder being involved. This is one of those where those antics at the time, I think I put a tweet out saying I was embarrassed by the fact that not just that we'd lost, because you can lose a game of football. Anybody can lose a game of football, but losing and then reacting like that doesn't paint the club, doesn't paint any of us in a positive light in terms of the way that we're taking this forward. So when you're assessing last season, you're assessing the credibility of your manager and you're assessing the future of your investment and how to make sure that you have got a strong reputation being built external to the club, it may be that those kind of antics and those kind of issues have played into this decision making. So again, when you think about all of that, does it potentially make sense? I'm split. And I'm trying to be honest with everybody in terms of what I'm saying here. Some of you will agree. Some of you will think I'm talking rubbish. Some of you, I am an idiot. So you'd be more than justified in thinking I'm talking rubbish. But very much this is one of those where I want United to be better in terms of the discipline. I didn't like some of the scenes we saw at times last season, particularly at Plymouth. And I thought that we needed to be better than that. And we need the footballing world to view us a little bit better than that. However, I loved some of it. And I loved it. I enjoyed myself and it put a smile on my face. So often watching Siddy Peck play football and then watching him be so passionate and committed and desperate to do well for United that he would run and celebrate and fight with everything he got. He's giving that for Wilder. It's a feeling that comes from Wilder through the club, and I love to see it. And so I can understand that if you're not connected to United and you're an owner and you're looking at it dispassionately, maybe, yeah, fine, I get it. But I want it. That's the dichotomy of all of this, is that you can get it from one perspective, but I want it. I want that connection. I want to feel that this is a club that cares, and Wilder cared. And so, yes, it makes sense reputationally that they might want to do this, but no, I don't like it because I just love what we are and I love who we are. And that's our identity. Maybe that's the identity that I was asking for before. That's who we are. And so that's covered another area of this, the emotion, the football, the reputation. And this is the final nail in the coffin, but it's also probably the biggest. It's the one that we all know we're going to be talking about and the one that we're going to be looking at. And this is more about not looking back. This is about the future and thinking about who Sheffield United want to be going forwards. And this is the one where I think there's the clearest argument for why the board are going to make this decision. And part of me gets it. And actually, probably the majority of me understands this one. Because if the board and the manager aren't on the same page about the future of the club, then there's a problem. If one side is saying we want to be forward thinking, looking at AI, looking at all these creative ways of doing recruitment and styles of football and thinking about the future, that doesn't work if everybody doesn't want to do it. Everybody has to be bought in, whether it's wrong, whatever. If one of you wants to do that and one doesn't, there's no way you would stop it from working immediately at the start. So if they aren't aligned in their vision for the future of how Sheffield United want to work, then I do think that one of the positions is untenable. You either have to compromise and somebody has to say, okay, we'll do it your way, or you have to make this change. I think it's the only way you can start to move forward and build the future of the club. If the owners are looking there in terms of, there's some suggestion that there's around a £30 million budget for this summer. If they don't trust Chris Wilder's recruitment and they want to do it a different way, why would you give him that much money to spend? This is a summer that could define the future of United because it's our last one with parachute payments. We won't always have a £30 million budget. We can have it now because we are receiving so much money from the Premier League, from things we've done historically. We will lose our financial advantage if we don't take advantage next season and get promoted again. And so we can't afford to waste the transfer fees, the budget, everything that we've got this summer. Now, maybe the owners will waste it. I'm not saying that their way is the right way. If I'm honest, I've got concerns. Yeah, that's the words. We'll use those words. I've got some concerns about whether or not it's the right way forward, but it's going to be their way or the highway. And if they don't want to give that money to Chris Wilder because they think it may be that they give him the money and sack him in October anyway, then it probably is the right time to make the change now and spend the money in a way that a new manager will want it, to build a club and a squad that the new manager wants to work with and wants to control. So sadly, the power is with the owners and they want to move forward with their way of looking. So is that right? You know, Wilder transfers, an absolute master of finding value. When Sheffield United have no money whatsoever, and we are trying to scrape 2 pennies together to find a squad and a team and a club that's going to go over and overachieve and be brilliant, he's fantastic at it. That brought us Jack O'Connell, it brought us John Fleck, it brought us Mark Duffy, it brought us Michael Cooper and Callum O'Hare. These are players who have come in, low transfer fees, low risk. Let's really try and commit behind that. When he's got that and he's asking these players to come in and to commit to what he's doing, there's nobody better. If we didn't have any money, there would be nobody better to run the transfers than Wilder. But when we have got money, we're not in the position now where we need to spend 500 grand and find Mark Duffy. We're in a position where we have quite a bit of money to spend to elevate us from where we are now to hopefully a sustainable Premier League team. And when we look at what Wilder's done in terms of his big money signings and the ones that he has pushed for and tried to get through, we're talking about players like Ryan Brewster and Sander Berge and Ollie McBurney and Tom Cannon. And that's probably talking, 60? Maybe more? 60, 70 million pounds worth of spending. And at best, they did all right in the Championship. Sander Berge is probably the top of that bunch where he did pretty all right for United, generally speaking, and then we managed to get our money back. But Brewster might leave on a free. McBurney did leave on a free. It's too early to judge Tom Cannon. Yeah. But this is very much one of those areas where these moves, they didn't just not work on the pitch in terms of making United a better football team. They also didn't work off the pitch because we lost the money and we didn't gain any value out of them in terms of goals, creativity, in terms of driving Sheffield United forward. So I can understand why in a potentially big spending summer, they might not want to give the keys to the castle to Chris Wilder to say to him, go and spend what you want, because his track record does suggest that with those transfers, they haven't worked and they haven't been able to progress United the way we want to progress. So is trying something new a bad thing? I don't think it is. I think trying something new with our transfers is potentially a good thing. Do these new owners know what good looks like, though, and know that they're different is good? We have to wait and see. I can't tell you the answer. I've got no idea. I don't know if they're going to get it right. I don't know if their new way of looking at transfers is going to be right. I don't know if it's going to be a disaster. I couldn't say. But if they want to try something different, I do think it's something we need to do. Because if you're ever going to progress beyond who we are today, and we're ever going to be a sustainable Premier League team, we're ever going to kick on from just being just short of being the 23rd best team, if we want to be the 17th best team, we've got to do something different to what we've done in the past. And maybe this is the something different that allows us to make that jump. So they're what I think are the 4 key areas of how this decision's come about and my response to it. A lot of people out there might be thinking this is just a nonsense rant. And to an extent, yeah. But it's also my thoughts and opinions on how this has come about, what the key factors are, but also my reaction to those factors and what I would have done if I was the one making that decision. If I now take that as a whole and say, have the owners got this right? Is sacking Chris Wilder the correct decision? Honestly, I don't know. Emotionally, no, it's not. Looking backwards over everything we've achieved, how well we did last season, no, it's not. Because he's got the absolute most out of Sheffield United. He has rebuilt the club twice and built something that I love. And it is wrong to take us away without that coming to a natural conclusion. It may be that Chris had gone forward and had failed. And if that happened, then it comes to a natural end and we all get closure because he deserved a natural end. He deserved closure. He didn't deserve the back door after a really successful season and not having a proper chance to say goodbye. Emotionally, all of that feels wrong. But unemotionally and looking forwards at the need for a unified approach, at needing anything else to hang on to, it could be the right decision. The proof of all of this will be that the results ultimately pay the bills. If we are celebrating promotion this time next year, then they have got this decision right. If we are doing anything else, and I mean anything else, then we will always look back to today and think about what could have been. Like, was this the moment that we threw it away? Because we could very much have been a promoted team under Chris Wilder. Look at what Leeds did. They got 90 points, lost in the playoff final, kept the faith, won the league at a canter. We're now talking about United have the chance to try that, to try stability, to try the same approach with the same manager going again, and hopefully getting the same result as Leeds. And that could work. So if we flip this coin and we make this change, it's all on the owner's back. And they have to know that. They have to know the risk that they are taking. Breathe, man. Woo! It's too warm, to be honest. It's too warm to be getting emotional like this. I'm getting carried away. I'm hot. Let's look at some of your comments, though. Let's see what you are thinking. Matt, Chris is the best manager of my lifetime, and it is devastating. Yeah, it is. That's exactly where I feel, because I just love the journey that we've had and that emotional connection that we have had together. Robin is looking forwards, looking to the future. He's gutted about Wilder, but, it's what we've got to do. If this decision is taken, there is sadness, there is a period of mourning, but we have to look forwards. We are Sheffield United, not Chris Wilder Football Club. And therefore, we have to look forward as to what the future is and get behind what that future of United looks like. And Robin is just happy that it's not going to be Gary O'Neill. I agree, Motis Fuentes from QPR would have been a fantastic option, but if it's Ruben Sellers that we get, then we go forward with that understanding. Ruben Sellers did a fantastic job at Reading and an underrated job at Hull. When he came into Hull, they were bottom of the league. He kept them up. When he went to Reading, they were in the middle of an absolute disaster with their owners, minus points deductions, basically just being asset stripped for fun while their owner made as much money as he could off the back of their on-field, well, I was going to say on-field success, but any success story they had was immediately sold out from under him. He had that Reading team in that context in the playoffs. He has proven that he can overachieve with teams. He's just never taken on a challenge quite this big, but we have to back him and support him if he is the man coming in. Blade Running reflects a lot of the feeling of the fans, I think, in that we cannot believe that we've done it this way. Because for me, one of the big things is it's not necessarily even about the change. It's about the fact that we've been sat here for a week, knowing that it's probably coming, but having no further comms. The club haven't said anything. Oh, I've not reviewed my Twitter for a minute. Have the club said anything? My facial recognition don't like me. No, they haven't. So we've still not had any official comms from the club on how this works together. And that doesn't feel right. And it feels like we deserve more and Chris Wilder deserved more. PT thinks that this could set us back 10 years. And he's right. Or she's right. They're right. Sorry, PT. They are right. This could send us back. This could be a decision that sees United drop like a stone. It could be the moment that we look back on and say that's when we threw it all away. But we don't know that right now. Right now, all we know is that we're here. This decision could take us there, or it could take us there. We could go up, we could go down. We don't actually know how it plays out. All we can do is hope that as it did with Brighton, with Brentford, with Bournemouth, that we're getting this approach right, finding the value, and really driving ourselves forward. In terms of things that would scare me, if we had appointed Wayne Rooney, I would have run an absolute mile. This would have been a very different vibe to this video. So yeah, very glad that it's not going to be Wayne Rooney. And I'm glad that his name is not being mentioned. Adam Cunliffe wants to tell us that Wilder will always be a legend here, but he thinks that it's the right time for a change. They think that this is the moment where actually maybe this is the right time to align for the future and run ahead. There is both of these approaches. Matthew thinks similar. We need to move forward. Can Sheffield United be as successful as we want to be while we are stuck in this? We're only successful with northern managers. You think about who's been good for United in our lifetimes, and it's, well, my lifetime. I shouldn't judge for everybody, but it's Warnock, it's Heckingbottom, it's Wilder. There is a stereotype manager that fits Sheffield United, but there's a ceiling to how far those managers have been able to take us. Maybe we need somebody who is going to elevate that, who is going to be different, try something different, do something different, and get a different outcome. Terry has the perfect approach. We can't control it. It's not within our gift. So let's just get behind the manager, get around the new boys. Let's just back Sheffield United. Let's go where we want to be. Maybe that's the right way to go. Peter reflected on one of the points I made around football and identity. We had one the first time that Wilder was here, and he had it in him perfectly. He did. He created the most exciting United team that a lot of us will ever see. A team that actually took the Premier League by storm, that had Pep Guardiola saying, I don't even understand how he's done that. He did. He has got it in him, but that's not necessarily what happened this time. And maybe he's not who he is today. Maybe 2019 Chris Wilder is different to 2025 Chris Wilder. Maybe he can't be able to take it forward. I am diverting from Wilder because I found a comment that made me laugh. I'm available for hiring. I have a relatively cheap fee and will do any kind of cartoon animal, whether you prefer dogs, guinea pigs. I even think I could rock a budgie. Just let me know. Moving on from that one, because you can tell I'm tired now. It's been a long day at work. We will end with some of our final comments. David, he thinks in terms of the way that we're moving forwards, the club are going to announce everything at once. It's not going to be Chris Wilder has left, letting the tributes pour in and then go for the new manager. They want all their ducks in a row. It will be Wilder out, new manager in immediately. There's going to be no period of waiting, no sort of limbo that United find themselves in. We will be able to take it forward. Thank you, everybody, for listening to me, for taking this time, for sitting with me as we go through my emotional breakdown. It's been group therapy for me, so I much appreciate each and every one of you. But let's finish with a key point in all of this. You know, we talk about, is it the right decision, the wrong decision? What does the future look like? What does the past look like? Let's finish on this. Thank you to Chris Wilder. Thank you, because if this is the end, and this is the end of his time and his association with Sheffield United, then if we're not going to have the three-peat, if we're not going to bring him back, then he goes down as an all-time great. He leaves Bramall Lane with his head held high off the back of one of the most successful seasons that we've ever had in terms of the points won, the amount of games we won, the fact that we spent Saturday evenings smiling because United had won another game of football. He leaves us as the manager who gave us memories of 100 points getting out of League One. He gave us bouncing day. He gave us... It feels ridiculous to point to this because it's not at the end of a season and it's not an achievement. But at the point of the COVID lockdown, does anybody remember Bramall Lane against Norwich? We beat them 1-0 with a Billy Sharp header. I think Dean Henderson made a ridiculous save. Did he kick one off the line? It was madness. That put Sheffield United 5th in the Premier League. We were sat ready and waiting to go into Europe. And I still believe that if we don't stop playing at that point, we would have been in Europe. We got to dream about watching United in Europe. That's what Chris Wilder brought to us. He gave us a Derby double this season. He gave us within a VAR's of getting our moment at last at Wembley. The belief that we were finally going to get over the line and win at Wembley. And that means more to me than just about anything else I'm going to watch United do. VAR might have taken away the outcome of what that goal meant, but it cannot take away the feelings that we've had, the feeling of celebrating Burrows' goal, the feeling of being on this journey with Wilder and with United over the last 10 years and being able to dream again of Sheffield United being a long achieving successful football club. We will forever be grateful for Wilder taking us from the depths of League One to who we are today, because none of it happens without him. And so whether he's the man to take us forward or not, whether we agree with the decision or not, let's just make sure that what's not lost within that is the thanks for everything that we've achieved and what we've got over the last 10 years during his time with United. And so we now move forward. And if it is to be Ruben Sellers, then we welcome him with open arms. We say, you're one of us now. You are one of us at Bramall Lane. I'm sorry that you've got to come into this context, which can be only really difficult for a new manager, being here and taking on all of this and getting all of the baggage and the context that's come with this decision. He's not done that. It's not his decision. He's not the person making this change. As soon as he's announced, he's one of us, and we have to back him all the way with everything that we've got. Because if United are going to be successful, then we're going to have to be successful with him in charge. So let's back him with everything we've got. Because ultimately, we are Sheffield United fans. And win, lose or draw, we'll still come back for more. Don't forget the words to the song. We will still come back for more because it's going to be United all the way. What a cheesy finish. Up the blades, everybody. And I hope you're all having a fantastic week so far.
Ole, ole, ole. Ole, ole, ole.